Welcome, guys, to the daily analysis for July 24th. If the audio quality today is a bit shaky, bear with me. I am currently traveling and I'm recording on the outside where the wind is a bit crazy. Either way, let's begin. So, yesterday was supposed to be a regular day, right? We did have some weakness because of Google and Tesla earnings, but the bounce had just begun and we were bouncing from a major support. So, the fact that we had this consolidation and we're breaking a bit lower from that, usually what happens with these kind of earnings is price just gets bought up and we go to the 50-day moving average. At the same time, it did not help the sentiment that Trump started fighting with Iran right before market open. I don't know what that was all about, but definitely screwed the sentiment up. So much so that we could not even have a tiny bounce all day. All right, so that's the structure. This is not a good look. On the weekly charts, what we have is we tried to bounce, go to the 9 week moving average, and then got rejected rather fast. All right, you guys can see that. So now there's a decent chance we're going to go to the 21 and then see what's up there. So that might be starting today. That's the overall context because we don't have any major news events. We had Intel earnings, which haven't really done much. And yeah, the market is just up to the whims of yesterday's sentiment now. So, with that in mind, let's look at the hourly levels real quick. You guys can see the hourly levels are going to be pretty straightforward because yesterday was just sideways action. We could not even have the tiniest bit of bounces possible. The 695 all the way until 689, that's your major level. That's your neutral area. Above 695, we can go to 698, maybe 701. Below 689, we likely go to 686 and then potentially break down for much, much lower, where we can have gap fill here, maybe even here, go to the 21-week moving averages. This could be one of those days. And you guys know that sometimes where price just keeps selling all morning and then sometime in the afternoon session reverse on Monday. So it could be one of those sessions. We just have to be open minded about it. All right. Now that's the neutral area and the bullish and the bearish area. One thing I do want to point out is yesterday we broke down, right? Yesterday we broke down from this 50 HMA box. And what we have done so far is not. So this was the box. We broke down from it. We made a lower low. We bounced to make a lower high, and we haven't really broken down from it again. So there's a very high chance we're going to at least sweep yesterday's lows. And then after that, if we continue lower, it could be a all day low party. So those are your levels for QQQ. What about SPY? Very similar idea. Price just stayed range bound yesterday after breaking it lower initially. The 740 is a major area. On the downside, we have price didn't really go much below 737. So I'm going to mark that as the neutral area. But obviously, if we break below 737 today, we can go to 734 and lower. We have this gap all the way until 731, which hasn't been filled. You guys can also see price broke down from this 50 HMA box again, made a lower low, lower high, but hasn't really broken down again lower. So there's a very high chance we go lower today, potentially fill this gap. Okay. Those are your levels for SPY. How do you scalp this today? I guess from the structure itself, it's pretty clear that there's a decent chance we'll go for the lows again. The fact that price is gapping up right now doesn't really do much to change that. So this morning, what you're going to look for is, doesn't matter where price opens, some form of a zone break lower in order to at least sweep the lows. And then after the lows, we can see what's up. So after the lows, we're probably going to go get a second lower low and price can continue. So yeah, what you're going to look for is a zone break lower in order to short today. That's the main idea for both QQQ and SPY. So let's assume right now price is opening at 693. 692 is a zone. Once we break lower below 692, you can start shorting and then ride on. Something similar for SPY as well. So that's the basic game plan for today. Let's move to futures. Now on futures, what we have is overnight consolidation. Obviously, yesterday we did not want price to even go below this. That's what Trump helped with. And then it did not help that Google and Tesla died. Just the sentiment went in the gutter, despite semis being strong, despite high beta names being strong. That it was just not a good look overall. Now, the high beta names being strong suggest that we are close to a bottom. All right, that's obvious. The question is, where is the bottom gonna be? And by the looks of it, probably at the 21-week moving average now. So expect volatility today. Overnight, what we have is simply a 9 MA box right below a major support. Given that we haven't really been able to bounce off this support, means we are likely to break it lower now. So today, below 590 to 634 area, we are going to go to 384, potentially 132 to 176, and then maybe 27, 28,000 area. So I would not be surprised if we start to go to these levels. What about on the upside? On the upside, you can only be bullish above, let's say 947. You can start look for a bounce. No real bullishness until very very far away though, like 29412. How do things look on ES? We consolidated for a long time. We are consolidating below this area. We haven't really even gone and tested out recent lows. There's a lot more bearishness left. 7400 is the next major support. After that, we have 7369 followed by 7340. So those are your levels on the downside for ES. Let's move to semis. All right, for semis, yesterday we consolidated very nicely. This is what I was talking about, relative strength. At this, we did not break below 50 HMA. We did not go below 542. So the bearishness never manifested except for QQQ and SPY. What about today? It's the same thing. If we go below 542, we can go for the gap fill. But semis are holding relatively strong, which means in the coming days, starting later today in the afternoon session or on Monday, we will start to be bullish. All right. So that's the basic idea. For now, if we hold above 552, we could go to 582. Let's, last but not the least, is gold. Gold, yesterday we had said you could short below 4080, and it's playing out quite well. So both the levels played out. What about today? Well, today, I think the shorting opportunity is gone. You can long above 4100, but otherwise you probably got just kind of look for consolidation in gold today. Now, in terms of individual names, I would say Google still has an opportunity. Obviously, the indices can continue today lower. I already showed you guys the consolidation. Google has an opportunity, right? We made a lower low yesterday, bounced to make a lower high, haven't gone for the second lower low, so that can be a nice scalp option, right? Especially because Google has long way to go, at least to the 50 HMA. So it has some way to go. 50 WMA, not HMA. What else? Intel also has a nice consolidation over the last couple of days. Today, if it can break above 107, you can look for a long. But if it breaks below yesterday's lows, you look for gap fills down. So it also has good scalp opportunity, especially now that the earnings are gone. Guys, that's about it for the daily analysis today. Any other questions, ask me inside the group. I will be looking this morning for a short and then just planning on writing it. Cheers.